Tonight on Sports Sunday, one and done. The Texans season is over. How it all collapsed at NRG.
What step does Deshaun Watson need to take, and what changes are in store for next season? OB and the players react, plus the Chronicle's Jerome Solomon in studio to weigh in on the first-round meltdown.
At the University of Houston, the unbeaten Cougars roll again. Cougs coach Kelvin Sampson joins us. Plus, how one player has the ultimate fan in the stands at every game. And can anyone stop the Rockets' James Harden? Doesn't look like it.
Let's get it going right now on Sports Sunday.
Live from KPRC Channel 2, this is Sports Sunday.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sports Sunday. We thought we'd be talking about the Texans and a trip to New England. Not going to happen. Andrew Luck and the Colts, they had other ideas yesterday at NRG Stadium. Randy, Adam, Laney with you tonight. Lot to get to in the next half hour, guys.
Thought we were going to talk about that for about 5 minutes into the game.
I was going to say it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
We're kind of talking about the Texans' future. Where do they go from here? I'll tell you what Bill O'Brien plans to do to kind of make this roster better in the offseason.
And they also
all
announced
sorts of questions on defense, too.
Exactly. They also announced today it's lending towards possibly not moving training camp, moving it back to Houston. So that's good news. I think a lot of fans are going to like that. So it's trending that way, at least. It's our big story, the Texans. NFL season over now in Houston. Against Indy, the defense, again, could not solve Mr. Andrew Luck or T.Y. Hilton again. Get this, in 3 games this year against Houston, Luck threw for more than 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns against this Houston defense.
Yeah, and pass D has been an issue for this team for the last month, but run defense has not. The Texans didn't allow a 100-yard rusher all year long until yesterday. Marlon Mack with a $148 on the ground.
And unlike the previous 2 meetings with the Colts, Deshaun Watson and company, well, they couldn't do anything in the game, the entire game. And that's why they just couldn't even come close. Tough end to an 11-win season. And Laney, I know you have more on the team as they start to pick up the pieces.
Only 24 hours after a season-ending loss to the Colts, the Texans are still feeling the hurt.
Tough loss. I had a lot of tough losses here.
The disappointment even greater because they had high hopes that this group was different than years past, that this Texans team had the potential to make a deep run in the playoffs.
This team is special, man. I've never been a part of a team like this. I can't. My bad. Not in words.
Still an 11-win season, the second highest in franchise history, and another division title for the trophy case. But perhaps the best thing that came out of this year is the confirmation that they finally have a franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson.
I know that we have the right guy. We've got a guy that's a dynamic player that loves to be in critical situations and loves to have the ball in his hands.
You know, I'm not going to lose confidence. Just go back to work. You know, keep this feeling in my back of my mind, and go back to work this offseason and regroup next year.
So now the focus in the offseason shifts to evaluation, making the roster stronger through free agency and the draft, and getting everyone healthy.
We're still high, even though yesterday didn't go how we planned it. So, like I said last night, we're going to turn the page and get better in the offseason.
Senior Bowl, Combine, free agency, all the things that we're mapping out. We actually met this morning on the calendar just to map out daily what we're going to be doing for the next few months, to try to get this organization where we need to be, which isn't where it was yesterday, but I do believe it's in the right direction.
And Coach O'Brien did say today that he prefers building the roster through the draft rather than free agency so he can better develop players. The good news is the Texans have 3 picks in the first 2 rounds this season. Last year they had none, so he and Brian Gaine will definitely get the chance to do that. Randy?
All right, thanks a lot, Laney. As you mentioned, joined now by Jerome Solomon of the Chronicle. You see him often here on Sports Sunday. Good to see you, man. And
thanks, sir.
It was kind of odd waking up knowing football season's over here for the Texans,
been
right?
a long run, and it's not supposed to be over. It's not over for everyone, but for the Texans, it's done.
You joined us yesterday from NRG on the pregame show that we did. You knew this was going to be a good game. So were you shocked that the Colts got out of here, or maybe the way the Texans got beat?
No, I was shocked that it wasn't a better game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you told me before that, we talked yesterday, that the Colts are going to score 21 points. The Colts are not going to score in the second half. I'm like, oh, the Texans are going to win easily. 7 points? I mean, you didn't expect that. You didn't expect him not to show up, not to move the ball, not to put some points on the board.
Yeah.
And so that was surprising, especially at home.
Well, let's get into that. Talk a little bit about the offense. I know you've got some opinions on what you saw, what we all saw from Deshaun Watson yesterday. Obviously, you look at the big picture of the entire season. This isn't what we saw for most of the season. What went wrong? He was definitely not on the mark yesterday.
It's not what we saw. I mean, he matched the team record for completion percentage during the season.
Yeah.
So he connects with players. He makes passes. The ball gets where he wants it to go. It did not happen for him yesterday. It was a weird situation where he was off target. He was out of sync. He said that the rush got to him, you know, and he couldn't step into some of the throws. He couldn't finish the throws. And as a quarterback, when you can't finish a throw, you don't know where the ball is going to go. But he had some plays that were there that he didn't make, and it's unusual for him not to make those plays. I think he was pressing. He started pressing once they fell behind.
And you rarely see that from Deshaun, especially in the big game environments dating back to his college days. How about let's talk about the maturity level of Deshaun Watson. We saw a lot of growth in his game, but he did some things that drew some criticism yesterday. The team was down, just you know, getting the first down and pointing that, you know, how much growing up does he still have to do as a quarterback?
I take a different take on that than most people in that. I don't want my quarterback or anybody on the team to play differently when we're behind than when we're ahead. I don't want him to play differently because, oh, it's a big game, you got to do different. No, do what you do every day, be yourself, and get it done. If they've been playing all season and he runs for a first down and he goes first down and these guys are like, but he does it in a big game and he gets the first down and he comes back like, well, that was just a first down. What are they going to think?
People see that.
His
body
teammates
language,
are going to go, man, what, are you nervous? Are you scared?
It's the body language, confidence.
Yeah, he's not scared. He's supposed to do that.
Season's over. Got to look forward now to you know, any changes that need to be made. You know, who you're going to bring back with contract situations. Few guys out there, the Texans have to make some decisions on.
Well, I mean, clearly they need offensive linemen, so they're going to go out and find wherever they can get them from, free agency, the draft, etc. But you know, their secondary, three of the four best players in the secondary are up and may not be back. Kareem Jackson, and I'm the president of the Kareem Jackson fan club.
You are?
Had a horrible game yesterday, did not play well. Jonathan Joseph has been around and has lost a step, not the guy that he used to be. Will he be back? Tyrann Mathieu came here for 1 year on a one-year contract, turned out to be a great leader for this team.
Absolutely, great inside the locker room.
Great in the locker room. Will he come back? These are decisions that have to be made, and the secondary has to improve. If Jonathan Joseph is your best quarterback, your secondary is not very good.
And in some way, however, the extension, franchise tag, Clowney, he'll be out there.
You can argue about whether it's in the long term, whether it's in the short term. Jadeveon Clowney will be a rich man, a richer man than he is now next year, and he'll be a Houston Texan, period. They would be foolish to let him move on. He's too good of a football player to let him go.
All right, it's going to be a busy offseason. It starts a little earlier than most expected, but after the loss, the offseason indeed does begin for the Texans. Jerome Solomon, hey, great stuff as always all season long, man.
Enjoyed
great to have you
thoroughly.
Read all his columns in the Houston Chronicle as well. And we are done with the Texans, but again, offseason will be fun. Fun to watch.
It ended way too soon.
It did. Thanks, man.
Not quite done with the Texans. So about that defense, sure seemed like things might be all right come playoff time, but they struggled with luck in the regular season. It was no different yesterday. That brings an interesting set of questions for them this offseason.
The issues for the Texans crystallized in their playoff loss, and for a defense full of star power, they looked powerless. But more so than on offense, personnel and coaching questions must be answered. How to handle Jadeveon Clowney? He's going to get paid this offseason. Franchise tag, long-term, or elsewhere.
I ain't even been thinking about a contract. I said to myself, if I come back and play well like I know I'm going to, the contract will take care of itself. I'm going to work on my craft and work on my game this offseason. That's what I'm worried about right now.
He was again among the league's best, especially against the run, and he's missed just 3 games the last 3 seasons, all of them ending with a spot in the Pro Bowl.
I promise to the Texans and whoever else watching, I'm going to be a much better, improved player next season.
The back end is where the major concerns are. Tyrann Mathieu and Kareem Jackson are both free agents in a secondary that needs revamping for a second year in a row.
And he's in. Touchdown, Colts.
And one thing I'll take from this season is, really the way everyone rallied around me, embraced me, really supported me and encouraged me. So, hopefully I'll be here.
I've loved being here the 9 years, so I definitely love to continue my career here, but at the end of the day, it may not be in my control.
Jackson excelled as a safety, but forced to move back to corner, and the success slowed. While the defense hit the postseason as the toughest team to run against in the NFL, they got run over by a Mack truck.
Gets by a tackler, still running 40, 45, 50.
Giving up 200 yards on the ground.
It's a very, very talented roster. We've got all the pieces. And we hadn't had that, years past.
Whitney Mercilus, you heard from right there, enters the final year of his extension. Could be a trade piece. Not asked to rush the quarterback much this season, so not his fault. Coach O'Brien said today he expects Romeo Crennel back as the defensive coordinator, but we'll see after a playoff performance like yesterday's.
All right, Wex, appreciate it. A lot to get into this offseason. How about some games over the weekend today? Quick check on today's games. Chargers pull off the road win over the Ravens. Melvin Gordon's touchdown put the Bolts up 20-3 after a 2-point conversion. Ravens made a late run with a couple of TDs by Michael Crabtree, but the Chargers hold on, 23-17 win. They will next visit New England in the next round coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, Randy, you said it earlier, a big weekend for the road teams in Dallas, but the Cowboys not in Dallas. The Cowboys protecting the star with the Seahawks in town. Zeke Elliott with a 137 rushing yards and a touchdown. Dak Prescott added 226 in the air and this big-time run to set up first and goal to sneak it in here on the game-sealing touchdown. Dallas wins 24-14 and will now travel to L.A. to face the Rams.
Best finish of the weekend. We had it here on KPRC. Defending Super Bowl champs with a crazy one in Chicago. Minute left. No problem for Nick Foles. Golden Tate's there in the end zone. They take the 16-15 lead, but still time for the Bears to answer. They drive into field goal range. 10 ticks left, and Parkey splits the uprights. But Doug Peterson called timeout. But that never works, right? Yeah, it does. It's off the left upright. The Eagles are moving on. They're playing the Saints next Sunday. Still to come on Sports Sunday, the Cougs remain unbeaten. A look at their perfect start to the season, and Randy's going one-on-one with Coach Sampson.
Plus, why is Steph Curry trying his hardest to convince people he's James Harden? We'll explain. Sports Sunday's back in 2 minutes.
Some Sunday hoops at Fertitta Center as U of H was trying to make it 15-0 hosting Penny Hardaway's Memphis Tigers. So the first half, sophomore Dejan Jarreau gets the steal, and that's going back the other way for the slam. Cougs up 28-20 at that point. No surprise, Armani Brooks, the leading scorer tonight, 6 3-pointers, 22 points for him on 8 of 14 shooting. The freshman Nate Hinton had 19 points off the bench. Cougs win 90-77. With more on the team, here's Randy McElvoy standing by with head coach Kelvin Sampson.
All right, thanks a lot, Landy. Let's talk more Cougar basketball. As you mentioned, joined now by the head coach of the Cougs, Kelvin Sampson. Coach, thanks for the time and congrats on the win against Memphis tonight.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate you having us on.
Right now, you're 15-0. That's getting all the headlines. But you said in your post game just a little while ago tonight that, hey, it's more important to be 2-0 in conference play, but you've got to like the results you've gotten so far this season.
No, you're right. Once you get into conference season, we're 13-0 in non-conference. We just kind of put that in a Ziploc bag and put it in the refrigerator, and we start over. So now, with our second season, we're 2-0, and we've got a big, tough road game coming up on Wednesday. But proud of our kids' effort. Memphis was a tough team to play against because of their weapons, but we're excited to be 2-0, and that's kind of what we're focusing on right now.
You're one of 3 unbeatens left nationally. How much talk of that is it inside that locker room, or is it not even brought up?
not even brought up. I think it's great for the University of Houston, though. You can't pay for that kind of publicity and PR and notoriety. That every time they throw up a map of the undefeated teams, you got U of H. Every time they go to Sports Center and they talk about undefeated teams, U of H. But other than that, you know, it's good for our university. It's great exposure for our university. But as far as the basketball players and the coaches concerned, you know, we're on to our next game. We have a little say in our program is we focus on what's in front of us, not what's ahead of us.
How about your defense? You're a top 15 team defensively right now, and I know you love defense. Is that, are you more proud of that than some of the scoring you're getting right now, the way that you guys are playing defense?
Well, let's understand this, Randy. The reason why last year's team won was because of our defense. Yeah. We were the 13th rated defensive team in America last year. That's out of 351 teams. When you're a top 13 in the nation defensive team, when you have your plus on the rebounding side, you always have a chance to win. So when I think about last year's team, what made us so good was our defense and our rebounding. And I think that's what's driving this team this year.
Lastly, before we let you go, you look at this conference. You've got a big one at Temple coming up on Wednesday. A lot of balance in this conference, a lot of parities you mentioned. Is this the best you've seen this conference?
Well, it's different. I don't think it's as good at the top as it has been. Last year, I thought the three best teams were Cincinnati, Houston, and Wichita State in that order. You know, Cincinnati and Houston were really, really good. Wichita State was really, really good. But after that, I thought there was a gap. This year, there's a top of the league. The middle league has moved toward the top, so I think we have more of them. But I don't think we have as dominant a team as we had last year.
Well, so far, it's been a fantastic season. A lot of basketball left, but Coach, appreciate the time tonight. Congratulations on the start. Good luck coming up at Temple on Wednesday night.
Harden trying to get free. Down to three, down to two. It's a three. Good! Good! He got it! James Harden, a flamethrower!
You bet he is, Kevin Harlan. The shot heard around the NBA in Oakland last Thursday buried the Warriors in overtime. 10 threes in that game, a career best for Harden. The Rockets now among the best in the West, largely due to the MVP's red hot or white hot run as of late. His stretch of averaging over 40 points per game now goes over his last 13 games. And Chris Paul's injury, since that happened, much of the damage from James coming from downtown, attempting more than 17 threes per game and dropping 7 of them each night. And more than half of Harden's points over the last 7 games have come on threes. That's a shot clearly worth imitating.
Yeah, it definitely is. And everyone knows the step back three is Harden's signature move. Well, last night in Sacramento, Steph Curry tried it, but was called for traveling. So Steph then tried making a 1-3 on his chest, telling the refs there Harden's jersey number, claiming his travel was the same as James's step back. He had some fun with it in the post-game interviews as well.
I've seen that once or twice. I tried it myself, and obviously they got confused. Thought it was, you know, they knew it was somebody different, so they called it. But it is what it is.
When you're at the Fertitta Center, you're going to hear Grandma Cougar. I'll tell you who she is and how she's a part of the Cougars family. That's next on Sports Sunday.
What is it about the University of Houston and the city of Houston overall that you love and you call home?
Well, seeing as how the chairman owns all these restaurants, I'm going to say food. food and entertainment.
One of the best answers in that introductory news conference. That was the head coach of the Cougs, the new head coach, Dana Holgorsen, at his news conference this past week. It was a major coup for U of H, convincing a high-profile coach, Laney, to leave a Power 5 conference for the American.
Yeah, but now comes the difficult part.
Yes.
Turning the Cougs' lofty expectations into big-time wins on the field.
What I look for in what this job has is the opportunity to win. There's an opportunity to win and win big here and win championships.
He's familiar with the city, all those things, the network with the coaches, the high school, you know, the people that he's used to hanging around with. That was really important.
We're not going to say what we demand anymore because I've read it all over the country in the last 2 years. But you can just push repeat.
Tillman expects 10-win seasons. One thing key to that happening next year would be this guy. That is quarterback D'Eriq King.
Yep, and Holgorsen called him the most important man on campus right now. Says he can't wait to get to work with his new electrifying quarterback.
Yeah, he's a good one. Football season a few months away, though. We heard from Coach Sampson about the special season on the hardwood. Adam Wexler checking in again with a story about a fan everybody knows at the Fertitta Center. Wex?
You got that right. It's very loud over in that new building. Plenty to cheer about with the Cougars rolling through an undefeated season. And right by the Cougars bench, there's an unmistakable fan who's on her feet from before tip-off through the final buzzer.
The Cougars play in a brand new palace at the Fertitta Center. They're undefeated, but the cheering would be the same no matter what.
Go! Go!
From Brenda Childress, also known as Grandma Cougar, cheering on her grandson, Cougars starting forward Cedric Alley Jr. There might be no one louder and prouder, bringing the love for the Cougars than Brenda.
Hey! 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 Go ahead again.
Grandma Alley Cat, as she's also called, has been doing it loud and proud ever since Cedric was a star at Klein Forest.
When he was at Klein Forest, I was the same. Now I'm even better. It's my dream. My grandson, 20 years old, and I wish everything best for him, and I come to support him in any shape, form, or fashion.
Grandma Cougar. It's just fun to have her around. I love it.
When the Cougars come on or off the court, it's high-five time.
Do you need to catch these guys on their way out?
Feels like she's part of the team.
She always know all the players. She dapples up every time we come in and out the tunnel. She's just a big supporter. She's going to be there every time, be here early, just having fun.
Almost like a rock star. She loves being part of the fun. Pretty easy to guess her thoughts on the undefeated season.
Fantastic, fantastic. But 14-0, from my mouth to God's ears, all the way through.
Had a great time visiting with her and some of the fans around her. And as you saw, she did not disappoint during the game. Cougars back at home next Saturday night against Wichita State. I can almost hear her cheering already. We're back to put a wrap on Sports Sunday in 2 minutes.
All right, national championship. Who are you picking?
I'm going with Clemson.
I want Clemson, but I'm picking Bama.
I'm going with Bama, too. Hey, we're on Facebook Live on the Channel 2 Facebook page in a mere seconds. 30 seconds.
Start it right now.
We'll talk to you.
See us get on.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.